It's Diana again in broad daylight. How y'all doing today? This is another beautiful day out here in the country at Miss Jean's house. For those of you that I've confused, when I film out here during the daytime, most of my in broad daylight is filmed at Miss Jean's house because I have been spending most of my weekdays out at Cousin Jean's for almost a year now. Either here or in Jackson in the hospital with her because she's had a lot of medical issues the past year. And so that's the reason I'm out here. When I do my Woman Once Removed or my garden party, that's at my house. I live in town. I do have a garden that looks like it's got a lot of wooded area around it, but I am in town when I'm filming this. But when I'm out here, I am in the middle of the country. Her and her husband built on a section that was part of our grandfather's farm. And actually, this pond that I film at, that's where I went fishing the very first time in my entire life. My Paw Vernon, that was his farm. He was a dairy farmer. He would take me fishing in his pond. And that's the same pond. So they built a house right in front of the pond. This was originally a pasture for his dairy cows. So I'm gonna have some of my coffee, my Ray's Roast from Regina. I got my mug, girl. Makes that coffee taste good. This morning I made it in a pod coffee maker. Just made one cup. Once I figured out how much I needed to grind up for those pods, and I had it made. Sure is good. I'm out here letting Pebbles do her morning run. I still have to watch her because she'll go out and get into the woods and stuff, and I don't know what she tries to tree out there. It's beautiful today. It's not too awfully hot. Yesterday, we went way out into the country to a cemetery where her mother and our grandparents and many of our ancestors were buried, and to take flowers for Decoration Day. And it's kind of spooky going out there because it's way out off of a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, up on a hill. And there are stories about that cemetery that stem back from the olden days of lights coming out of the church and going into the cemetery. I'll tell y'all a story about that one of these days. My mother was involved in that, so that's an interesting story. So it is kind of spooky because you're up there by yourself out in the middle of nowhere in a cemetery. So I've got a little footage of that. I'm going to sneak in here and let you see it. And before that took place, I videoed some Queen Anne's lace for Michael, my friend in Australia. And so I might sneak that in here too. Right here. Welcome back. So, what do y'all got planned today? I haven't talked to any of y'all in a while. Christy, Regina, Brittany, Marty. This is Wednesday, isn't it? This is the night that Marty does her Wednesday podcast now. I wonder what the topic is. I think Regina's going to be visiting with her tonight, too. I thank y'all girls for giving us something to do to break this monotony up. It has just gotten really, really, really boring, you know? But I will confess that yesterday, as we were on our way to take the flowers, see my nose, but it's dripping this time. The heat from the coffee has made my nose kind of drip, so I had to, not itching like normal. But we stopped to get some flowers, some extra flowers, and we found one of our junk stores was back open. So, of course, we had to mask up and glove up and go up in that place. I found a few glassware pieces. And I actually found an old Atkins book with a lot of recipes and stuff in it. And you know, those of you who know I'm on keto, and keto is really similar to Atkins. So there's a lot of recipes in this Atkins book that I can actually use on the ketogenic diet. So if you're out somewhere and you see the book, pick it up, and if you're on this keto, because there's a lot of recipes that you can eat on it. I mean, I wouldn't go strictly by the diet program if you're on keto, but you can notice that Atkins is low carb, high fat, and almost no sugar. So it's very, very similar. So, and a lot of the same benefits from both eating programs. So that's what I did yesterday. When I didn't put up a video. I did make a video, but I just didn't get it put up. So I'm sitting out here on Jean's patio, and all her flowers are starting to look beautiful. And this is where her hot tub is, and her grill, and the swings, and it overlooks the pond. It's a beautiful place. And I love to visit out here whenever I get a chance. Not just coming to visit her during the daytimes, but I'm talking about on the weekends sometimes when we have cookouts and things. And we used to have lots of family dinners out here because the house is so big and it's the perfect location out in the country for kids to run amok. And but we've missed out on of course, Easter, because we always had our annual Easter egg hunt out here. And, you know, everybody missed all that. We're hoping everything will get itself right. You know, upcoming will be our 4th of July cookout that we always have out here, but it looks like things are going to be bad for that, too. So it'll just be we-ins. Cooking out and eating our watermelon, maybe make some homemade keto ice cream. So, Regina, this coffee is really, really good. But I add my artificial sweetener and my half and half. It's pretty creamy looking. There's some plants in the picture here. Maybe a chankin. When I say I wish I were here, I really do. It's just so nice. There's a nice breeze blowing. You see it's blowing my hair. It's just like one of those perfect days. Now, yesterday was not a perfect day. Yesterday was a Mississippi summer day. Out in the middle of that cemetery with no shade. And me having to do flower arrangements and things. Well, I had done some in advance, but they've got some big cement urns that are in next to the tombstones that I have to make flower arrangements there. And it was hot. I like to burn up. And this morning, I decided to pick some plums. My plum trees were starting to get some ripe ones on them. So I went out and I was picking them. I can't eat them because they're not on my keto diet, but Miss Jean's not on keto right now, and she loves plums, so I picked her some plums. But what I wasn't noticing is that the plums that had fallen to the ground had lured fire ants. And I was standing right in the middle of fire ants. And if you're not from the South where there's fire ants, think about a bee, a honeybee stinging you. And if you've got about a dozen of those honeybees on your foot stinging you all at the same time, that's what I experienced this morning. They're tiny little devils, but they will sting the fire out of you. I guess that's why they got the name fire ants. So I've had my experience this morning. And then again, you see I have no makeup. I go through those spurts. Like yesterday, I come in like this, and Jean said, well, I guess we're not going to wear our wigs today. So I had to fix her hair up, you know, pull it back, because her hair is pretty long, and fix it up real cute, and do her makeup, because even though it was so funny to watch her put on her lipstick and then put on a mask, and you couldn't see the lipstick to go into a store. I wanted to yahoo over that, but put on your lipstick and then put the mask on. Nobody can see it. So, if we just had a complete facial mask, I wouldn't have to worry about not wearing makeup. So, that was the funny that happened yesterday. Maybe that's kind of the reason I'm not wearing makeup as much as I used to. At least try to do my eyes so that I didn't have these things, you know, showing right here. That I hate these things. But I'm feeling like people are not really paying attention to other people anymore. Everybody's got their mask on. They're trying to stay away from people. So they're not even looking at you, really. They're trying not to get the virus. So I'm not even thinking much about doing it, but I should think about y'all, because y'all looking at me. I'm going to have to make a note of that, to try to at least start looking decent again. I'll do a woman once we move pretty soon, and I'll be looking glamorous, lovely again. But that's the way I've always done it. I mean, when I was a young woman, most of the time when I'd leave the house, I would get up, I would pull my hair up in a top knot, just like I'm wearing it now. I've worn a top knot like this since I was 18, 19 years old. As soon as my hair got long enough to pull up, I've worn it up. Because when I'm out in the heat, I sweat real terrible. And I cannot stand hair when I'm sweating and hot to touch my face. I feel icky. So I like to have it pulled away from my face. And that's the way I've worn it all my life. And, you know, I did get up and put on, you know, a little foundation and some mascara before I leave the house, but I never wore a lot of makeup during the day, unless I was going to work, and at night when I would go out. discoing. Of course, I painted to the heavens back then. And that's when I wore my hair down, and of course I fixed it and curled it and tried to look sexy when I went out. Sometimes in the 70s, if you see any of those movies and stuff about the 70s, they wore their hair up sometimes on the side with flowers in their hair. I did that. I thought it was very sexy. It kind of was a reminiscence from the 40s when they did that. A lot of styles and things from the 70s were mimics from the 40s, 30s and 40s. And actually it was popular. They had a lot of vintage clothing stores in Charlotte back then. And I went there a lot, and if I could find clothes that were large enough in 30s and 40s styles, I bought them and I wore them. I just thought they were very stylish. And that's whenever the Joan Crawford Come Fuck Me pumps came back in style. Of course, they sold reproductions of those because you can't hardly find a vintage pair of shoes that made out of leather that's still wearable, that you're not worried about messing up by actually wearing it. So they had a lot of reproduction ankle strap shoes. We all love those. So there's birds all flying in here. There's a couple nests I think they've gotten hid up here, but I found them. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna go now so that I can edit this video and splice in there the other clips that I took yesterday. So it may wind up being a fairly long video because this is almost 17 minutes itself, so be ready, y'all. All right, y'all have a good day now. Love y'all. Australia. He mentioned these yesterday. Queen Anne's lace. One of my favorite summer weeds here. I like to make bouquets out of them too. They're everywhere out through the country. All right, y'all. Bye-bye.